All right, this is the annotated bibliography. So this will help you to prepare for the research project, which is your transfer preparation, falls under the preparing for transition lecture. So this is your annotated bibliography. This presentation is organized in three parts. So there's the overview of the concept of the annotated bibliography, the different types of sources, and then MLA formatted sample entries. You should also read the Searching School information tutorial as well as the MLA formatting for electronic sources tutorial as well. So the purpose of an annotated bibliography is to describe and evaluate a list of citations to be used in a research project. This allows you to inform readers of the relevance, accuracy, quality of the sources used in the project, and then to determine the usefulness of a source in comparison to other sources on the topic. So it is very important. So because part of your process is to really understand the source and then determine its suitability. So for the topic of transfer preparation, a lot of people do not understand that some schools may not completely offer everything that you want, or will not necessarily prepare you for where you are going. So, taking some time to create an annotated bibliography before you write the personal statement will be useful to you for determining if a school will prove advantageous, very beneficial, or not. So the definitions, there are different definitions for what a bibliography is. So a bibliography is just a list of references considered. There may not be sources that you cite within your paper. The annotation then will be a summary or evaluation of that source. So therefore, the annotated bibliography is a summary evaluation of each of the sources that you are using in your research project. A works cited page is specific to MLA, meaning that you create the essay and then you cite works within your paper. And then at the end, the very last page, there will be a works cited page. So, why write an annotated bibliography? This allows you to learn about your topic. The topic is you in this regard. But if you were writing an annotated bibliography on, say, like a literary topic, a scholarly topic, it gives you this opportunity to learn about your topic. This also allows you to prepare for a research project. You should be in a mindset of 2 year planning, from when you leave the community college context to when you plan to enter the university context. And once you're there, sure, you can rest, wear the t-shirt, have the book bag, but you're still going to be in 2 years of planning because you're going to go in as a junior and junior senior, and that gives you 2 years of planning. And so then you don't plan once you get your bachelor's degree, you start planning then. And so preparing for a research project is it gives you this opportunity to plan for the research project that is you, and it gives you this opportunity to do so in a 2 year increment. Resources carefully, critically thinking about the information instead of just collecting. So maybe in the past we have developed this habit of just collecting information, but when you are collecting research, or you have gathered research, your goal is not to just collect and have a list of sources that you are thinking about, but you're going to have to take some time to think about those sources and read them for critical thinking. Read them critically. What is this source here? Say, for instance, you are interested in attending SMU, Southern Methodist University, and you want to go for engineering, but you also have a program at UTD, University of Texas at Dallas, that gives you an engineering program preparation as well. Of the two sources, which one will be the most beneficial to you? How will you learn? What will you learn? How will it prepare you for your intended career field, which is to become an engineer? So you're thinking critically about the sources that you are using. Also, you want to see what has been written in the field. Say, for instance, if you are researching a scholarly topic and the canon for the topic is, say, 25 years, are you wanting to bring in your research and sort of review and critically think about the research that is 25 years? Or do you want to become the 26th year scholar, right? That you have already done all of the research. You feel like you don't have anything else to add within those 25 years, but now you want to create new knowledge. Then that will be your 26th year. Then that helps you to understand where your research might fit. Does it fit within the 25 years of canon of thought, or is it, or are you creating new knowledge? You always have to consider that there's nothing new under the sun. So whatever you're doing, someone has written about it, but you critically thinking and adding new understanding about it could be the thing that is necessary for the canon to extend itself. And then this may help you formulate a thesis. Sometimes you already begin with a thesis when you write a paper, but if you create an annotated bibliography, the thesis that you create is going to be something that helps to close the gaps. It's going to showcase gaps and then help close the gaps. So this is why you should write an annotated bibliography. So here's a sample format. Before we started using online sources, we used mainly book sources. And so this here is actually a book, but it helps you to understand how to format electronic sources. So remember that in MLA, you start with the last name, comma, and then first name. You spell it out versus another citation referencing style where you might just use only initials. What you see here, this bird by bird, some instructions on writing in life, that is the title of the work. So the title of the work is always in italics. But if we looked at a chapter in the book, then the chapter would be formatted in quotation marks and it would come before the title. So then there's the city of publication, the publisher, and the year of publication, and the fact that it was in print. And this is what we are used to. We're not necessarily used to electronic sources. Electronic sources has become sort of like this new thing, and that we are spending a lot more time locating resources online. So here's an annotation, a sample annotation of this source. Lamott's book offers honest advice on the nature of a writing life, complete with its insecurities and failures. Lamont offers sane advice for those struggling with the anxieties of writing, but her main project seems to be offering the reader a reality check regarding writing, publishing, struggling with one's own imperfect humanity in the process. Chapters in this text could easily be included in the curriculum for a writing class. So, this is your way of looking at the text, summarizing it, assessing, and reflecting on it. And now we're going to get into that. So, again, the purpose of creating the annotated bibliography and sort of looking at that one source is to summarize, assess, and reflect. So here is an example of what a summary would be. So Lamont's book offers honest advice on the nature of a writing life, complete with its insecurities and failures. So there's this connection between the writing life and the challenges that are connected to the writing life. So when you are summarizing a source, what are the main arguments of the source? What is the point of the book or article, and what topics are covered? So in this situation, Lamont is suggesting that the writing life is not some happy thing that you think it could be or should be, that it comes with insecurities and failures, meaning that there are times you can be insecure. There are times you write well, and then there are times you can feel insecure, and then there are times that you have failures. So the point of the book is to show you that the writing life has its own challenges, and that the topics covered is basically the writing life and sort of like the emotional regulation that you need to adopt when you are engaging and enduring the writing life. So then the assessment will be Lamont offers sane advice for those struggling with the anxieties of writing, but her main project seems to be offering the reader a reality check regarding writing, publishing, struggling with one's own imperfect humanity in the process. So she gives you it begins almost like with another summary about the anxieties of writing, but then the author gives you a but, or the person who wrote the annotation gives you a but. And we all know that a but cancels out everything said right before it or written before it. So there are anxieties, but then there seems to be uh, uh, a reality check that the writer wants to give, Lamont wants to give the person reading the work, that um, this is the anxiety is not just with the writing process in itself, but also being able to market the book, being able to to give it a marketable appeal, promote it, right? That you have that the reality check has a lot to do with the writing, but also writing in such a way that it is publishable for the masses, and that you can struggle with your own imperfect humanity when you are considering all these processes, that it's just not you writing. So is it a useful source? How does it compare with other sources? Is the information reliable? Well, it's reliable because we have a published author. This person is telling you about the anxieties of writing based upon her previous experiences, and she has moved those anxieties into a publishable book. And so, yes, it is a useful source. When you are thinking about transfer preparation and trying to determine if UTD, SMU, UNT, any of the institutions that are available to you for transfer, how does each compare with with other sources? How does this one source over here compare with another source? And is that information reliable? Well, if you visit the school information itself, that information is reliable. It's considered a primary source. If you get information about that school from another source, that information is not reliable. It is considered a secondary source. So that means that you cannot rely on a secondary source in order to get you into the school. Therefore, you would have to go back to the original source, which is the school's website itself, to get information, and that information is reliable. So then reflect would be chapters in this text could easily be included in the curriculum for a writing class. Is you thinking ahead, you thinking in the future about how you could use this source. So how does it fit into your research? Was the source helpful? How does it help to shape the argument? How can you use this source in your research project? And so the schools that you are going to find and use, that information is going to be helpful because, of course, it's primary information. But also, how does it shape your argument? If you want to get in, if your major is electrical engineering and you want to transfer to SMU, how does your choice in a major shape your argument in using SMU as a reliable source? Meaning that, will SMU be and do what it is that you need it to do for your future career? And that's something that you have to consider. So then, types of sources when you are preparing the personal statement is information that you want to make sure you understand the difference between, which is primary and secondary sources. So we understand that primary sources are schools, colleges, admissions site, major department sites. So when you are searching for information, you're spending more time. You're going to spend time in two different places, and take some time to review the searching school information tutorial for more information. You're going to spend time on the admissions site and then the major department site. So when you go to type in smu.edu, that is the central website. That's the main website. But the website has multiple websites and multiple web pages. And so there's always an admissions tab, and there's always some sort of academics tab. And the admissions tab is for how to get into the actual institution, the school itself. But the academics tab, which falls under your majors, is how you're going to get into the major. And you can be admitted into the school, but not into the major because of some maybe major defense major deficiencies. That's why you want to spend more time on a website and not necessarily talking to friends, and not even always speaking to the academic advisor, even though the academic advisor would be more primary. But that's your opportunity to really spend time on the website so that you get a very good understanding of what it is required for you to get into the school and get into the major. So then Bureau of Labor Statistics, that there is a tutorial for that. And you're moving from this searching from your major. So if your major is electrical engineering, that's your major title, to your intended job title, which would be electrical engineer. And Bureau of Labor Statistics falls under the United States Department of Labor, and that's the primary information that institutions, companies, corporations, everyone gets their information from regarding the intended career. And you would spend time on that website to know what is required of you for your future intended career. And then, of course, primary sources will be educational associations, anything discipline specific. So your major is actually considered a discipline. So English, science, history, math, those are actually, they're called disciplines. Uh, but we sort of collectively refer to them as majors. And then, of course, National Center for Education Statistics, if you were gathering information. So those are primary sources. Then secondary sources would be anything other than primary. So third-party websites, commercial websites, paid-for service websites. People a lot of times live on College Board, but College Board is a secondary source. College Board cannot get you into the institution. Newspaper articles, any site or person other than the horse's mouth. And the horse's mouth is the school's website. So here's a sample source. Because I was an English major, I always go for the English major. But sometimes when I'm using Bureau of Labor Statistics, I usually go for accounting. So SMU transfer admission site. So you see a screenshot here and you see the different tabs: admission, apply, visit, academics, campus life, financial aid, and connect. And the two most important tabs then would be for you admission and academics. And so when you are formatting the source for MLA, you want to make sure that you understand what the title of work is, title of website, publisher or sponsor, date last updated, medium of publication, date you access the website. And what would the way you get the title of work is when you've visited the website and you click and click and click until you find the information that you want, and it is the page that you land on, the final page that you're getting all the information that you want to get. It's that page you land on. When you type in smu.edu, that's their home page is considered a landing page. But when you're trying to take the information to format for MLA, it is the page that you finally land on that will become your title of work. So let's look at an example. Using the same screenshot here, the title of work would be transfer application, because after so many clicks and search opportunities, I finally landed on the transfer application webpage. So then you would format that in quotation marks because that's your title of work. Then the title of the website is uh, undergraduate admission, meaning that undergraduate admission is a website under the smu.edu larger website. Of course, the publisher will be Southern Methodist University. We do not have access to a date of last update, but you would normally see that at the end of the web page. It might be last revision date, or it actually might be last update date. When you do not have one, it is in period D period in parentheses. And then, of course, the medium of publication is web. And the web is actually, you would actually type in the URL. So we don't have access to the URL right now, but you would actually copy and paste the URL into that area of the entry. And then the date of access, the date that I accessed this was January 16th, 2018. So here's the formatted entries. So traditional transfer students, or and it's hard to see it under here, but it felt under, it's under transfer application. So even though I landed on transfer application, there were other sections probably that I got the information from, and so I decided to use that as the title of work. Then undergraduate admissions, that's the web page or the title of the website. Southern Methodist University. There is no date of update. And then here is the URL as you see it here and the date that I accessed it. So it's accessed 16 January 2018 period. And so here's a Bureau of Labor Statistics .gov, a page on a website. And so I'm actually going to do, there is a tutorial, but I am going to do an audio version of this. But it's, again, it's what you land on. So you would research in a search box, click um, and type in pharmacist, and you would get the information that you see here. So I will do an audio on that. And then here's a screenshot of that. So after I conducted a search, it gave me this option here for pharmacists. And you see the different tabs: summary, what they do, work environment, how to become one page, job outlook, state and area data, similar occupations, and more info. You want to spend more time on how to become one, because that's going to give you the education requirements as well as any certification requirements that are required for your field. So it's the same setup: title of work, title of website, publisher, sponsor, date last updated, medium of publication, and date you access the site. So here's the screenshot again. Title of work would be the full thing that you see here: Pharmacist Occupational Outlook Handbook. Remember, we did not have access to internet, I guess, consistently until now. And so we dealt mainly with books. So the book that you see here is actually an original book. And if you visit a library, a physical library, you might still see this book, I think, in the reference section. But it's important to understand that you still format it in the same way that you would do a book, but just for online. And so you see title of work, Pharmacist Occupational Outlook Handbook, and then title of site will be Bureau of Labor Statistics. Remember, this is Bureau of Labor Statistics under the United States Department of Labor. And then the publisher, of course, is the United States Department of Labor. Date, last date, updated. You will find this information at the bottom of the web page, as well as a recommended citation. It may be a recommended citation in terms of how to format the material on the page. However, it is not MLA formatted, and so you still have to format according to MLA. Medium of publication would be web, which would be the URL, and then the date of access. So here's the example again, where you see here the title of work, title of website, publisher, the date of date last updated, URL, and then the access date. So then the next steps would be read and visit. Take some time to read Searching School Information tutorial, as well as the Bureau of Labor Statistics tutorial. I will not do an audio version of those, but I will create an audio version of how to conduct a search. And then, of course, visit your intended transfer institution. You are spending time on two sites: the admissions site of the institution, as well as the academic site. And then visit Bureau of Labor Statistics, type in intended career title, which I will try to do, and then a version of that. So this is the annotated bibliography.